6 minutes starts now.
They can breathe a little easier on Guam. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We're happy that the rhetoric is starting to calm down, perhaps, from Kim Jong-un.
Ray Tenorio is the U.S. territory's lieutenant governor, reacting to North Korea appearing to back off a threat to Guam. Fox's Simon Owen has more live.
Dave, North Korean state TV saying leader Kim Jong-un has now been briefed on a plan to fire missiles in the direction of Guam as promised last week. But a newsreader saying Kim has decided to watch and wait before issuing any order, quoting the leader as saying if the Americans persist with their dangerous and reckless actions, North Korea will strike. The broadcast insists the option is still on the table, but some analysts see Kim's move as a potential opportunity to lower tensions. Dave?
Simon, President Trump woke up in his New York home for the first time since taking office. The thousands protested his return last night, also chanting, "New York hates you," and "Shame, shame." The president has condemned the KKK and neo-Nazis, but critics say he should have done that right after the deadly Charlottesville violence. There will be more tears later this morning in Charlottesville, Virginia, where Fox's Evan Brown is live.
Dave, a memorial service for Heather Hare, the woman killed in Saturday's vehicle attack here, is scheduled for 11 a.m. at Charlottesville's Paramount Theater. It's in the city's downtown pedestrian mall, just some short blocks from the scene where Hare was killed. That scene is now a memorial site where people have been leaving flowers. While things have been rather peaceful in the past day here, we've seen angered crowds pop up in other cities like Durham, North Carolina, where protesters tore down a statue at a Confederate soldier memorial, Dave.
And the polls are just opening now across Alabama for a Republican Senate primary.
What I want to get done is common sense, conservative solutions to the problems that actually affect people in their real lives.
Incumbent Luther Strange has President Trump's support. He's facing former Judge Roy Moore and Congressman Mo Brooks. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Can you mow a yard, clean a house, haul off some junk? Then you can make extra money with the Tackle app. Tackle is an amazing new app that connects people who can perform small jobs with customers who need them done. Signing up is easy, so become a Tackle provider today. Go to tackle.com to join. That's TAKL.com. As a Tackle provider, you can be your own boss, set your own hours, and make great money. Go to TAKL.com today.
One call could decide your child's future. We're Mathnasium Learning Centers, the world's specialist in teaching math. We began with a powerful idea. Teach kids math the way that makes sense to them, and kids will actually enjoy math. They'll do more of it, leading to higher and higher levels of mastery. Today, Mathnasium has 700 franchised locations. Find yours at mathnasium.com and make the call that could decide your child's future. Mathnasium. We make math make sense.
Student leaders at more than 120 universities across the nation have issued a statement saying campuses should be safe for students, not places of violence and racism. The statement follows the weekend white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, where a woman was killed when a driver slammed into a crowd of counter-protesters. President Trump greeted by protests as he returned to his home in New York last night, the first time he's been back at Trump Tower since taking office. Police are still sorting out what happened in Clementon last night. Several people hit by a vehicle. The driver remained at the scene. The cause is not known. Our kids are headed back out of the football and soccer fields. Jersey doctors hope you're up to speed on concussion signs and symptoms. Dr. Mark McLaughlin at Centra State Medical Center in Freehold says brain injury doesn't always manifest itself as a headache or a loss of consciousness.
They're not able to think properly or clearly. They might be irritable, trouble sleeping, trouble with appetite.
He says a concussion is Hurricane Sandy in one of your brain cells, and what's needed is rest. I'm Eric Scott. This is the Town Square News Network.
Our latest forecast shows a pretty wet day today, a period of steady rain likely for most of New Jersey. It's going to be cloudy and humid in addition to soggy. Hopefully some clearing by late this afternoon. High temperatures stuck in about the 75 to 80 degree range today. Lingering showers through this evening, then becoming partly cloudy, lows around 70. Nice day tomorrow, although very warm. Highs mid to upper 80s with a mix of sun and clouds. Partly sunny and pleasant during the day on Thursday with highs in the 80s. Our next chance for rain will develop Thursday night into Friday. I'm meteorologist Dan Zero.
From Harry Hurley Way in the world's playground to the broadcast pioneers of Philadelphia Hall of Fame.
I want to congratulate my friend, Harry Hurley.
You're about to find out why Harry Hurley has been named to the Talkers magazine list of the 100 most important talk show hosts in the nation. Live from the studios of Town Square Media in Northfield, it's Hurley in the Morning on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
Thank you very much. You can set your clock to Chuck Malamut. Always Hurley, never late. It's 5 minutes past the hour. This is Hurley in the Morning, and it is our weekly program with Chuck Malamut for 26 years. On Tuesdays in the 8 o'clock hour, Chuck Malamut has presented his program all about your financial matters. Chuck is, as I mentioned, in our 26th year together here as the exclusive financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program. Chuck is the managing director, leads his team, the Malamut Group, at Morgan Stanley's Northfield, New Jersey office. And the following program is presented by Chuck, a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley. The information, views, and opinions expressed on this broadcast are those of Chuck and do not necessarily reflect those of Morgan Stanley or its affiliates. They are current as of the date of this broadcast and are subject to change without notice. Neither the information provided nor any opinion expressed herein constitutes a solicitation for the purchase or sale of any security. This presentation is for informational purposes only. Morgan Stanley, Smith Barney, member SIPC. Chuck, it is great to be with you, and I know we have a lot to talk about.
Good morning. Good morning, Harry. Tough act to follow after the last hour. I'm not quite certain where to begin, but
I know you can do it, but
I'm thinking maybe I'll let Kirk take another hour for me.
Kirk was strong. He had a very good. It was kind of like, who's that pitcher? Sale, S-A-L-E. It was kind of like the pitcher from the Red Sox that every outing you can count on that he won't give up more than 2 runs. That'll have at least 10 strikeouts, and that Kirk had a very good outing, definitely, and He'll be back like every good pitcher in 5 days. Actually, it's 7, but I thought 5 was better for the analogy. Market update, Chuck.
So, Harry, I think if there's a lesson to be learned in what we witnessed over the last week, it's not timing the market, but it's spending time in the market. I mean, let's think about this for a minute. I guess it was Thursday, if my memory serves me correctly. The world got turned totally upside down as a result of everything that was happening and we were hearing with North Korea.
Mm-hmm. Geopolitical.
It went, as we got into Friday was an up day. It was somewhat muted. And then yesterday, yeah, what am I missing? Sorry, gentlemen. Let me back up because let's tell your listening audience what's happening here. Okay,
Chuck, I have to give you such credit, ladies and gentlemen. Kirk and I were in the midst of pulling a practical joke on Chuck while he is totally serious, and he wasn't even. I gotta give you your props, Chuck. Until it became so ridiculous that we're both laughing. Chuck didn't even flinch. You have all my respect for that, Chuck.
Why don't we take our first commercial break?
It's too early.
And you and Kirk can share what you were attempting to do.
We'll tell you during the break, but it's too early to go now. But
it's not working.
It's not working now. Kirk has a device that causes interference, not a cell phone. It's a different type of electronic device. And earlier, before he signed on, it was going. It would have actually been like distracting the heck out of you. I was going to see how long you could take it, and it wouldn't work. So we're looking at each other and laughing like, it was doing it before. Why won't it do it now? So, and Chuck, you were so unflappable. The always unflappable Chuck Malamut. All my respect.
Well, Harry, I was trying to do what you've employed me to do, and then Kirk is in here.
Kirk
okay,
is 12 inches from Chuck's face. I'm laughing in Chuck's face. He's not even flinching, and he's not missing a word. It was fantastic. Then we just started bursting out laughing, and Chuck's like, all right, wait a minute. What's going on? What's going on around here? Go ahead, Chuck.
It was a joke that I was not part of. But that's okay.
No, you were the
It's better being laughed at than laughed to?
You were laughed with. With the ones we love. You play practical jokes on the ones we love.
All right, so let's
no malice.
No malice. Thank you, Kirk. You have a wonderful day, okay? Thanks for stopping by.
Kirk has left the building.
So Friday was a decent up day, followed over the weekend with, again, a fair amount of noise, coming from North Korea and these geopolitical risks that we refer to.
And by the way, Chuck, not just them, but also heightened rhetoric from the commander-in-chief.
Yeah,
so
so
the drums of war were beating, and proving once again the Malamut, doctrines that you talk about on your program. Our markets do not like uncertainty.
Yeah, so if you cut the week on Friday, the way it ended was that the indices were down. All the indices were basically down. The S&P was down 1.5%. The Dow Jones was down about 1%. The Nasdaq was down 1.5%, and it just pretty much carried worldwide. Walk into Monday, and lo and behold, Japan knocks the cover off the ball, which then carried it through Europe into the U.S. So and again, we don't like to, Harry, what we've tried to do over all these years in chatting with your listeners, we don't like to look on a day-to-day basis, but I think sometimes it is important to understand what happened. Yesterday, big up day in the markets. We recovered most of last week's weaknesses. Technology, best performing sector year to date, having gains of excess of 20%. The defensive assets erased some of last week's gains. Gold did in fact fall over 0.5%, and 10-year treasuries that we're looking at as sort of a benchmark of being defensive. We're actually trading below a 220 level. They're now to 222. So all said and done, I guess, Harry, the lesson to be learned here is that, technology is a wonderful tool. I see you're multitasking again.
Thank you.
You have your phone, you have your computer, it's in the car, it's everywhere you go. Information is so readily available.
At your fingertips.
And unfortunately, I think most people, whatever you do for a living, you're good at, and technology can be your friend. When you step out of that comfort zone and you try to use technology to assist you, and oftentimes in our world, what happens is, prospective clients, your listeners get this information and they get it, and they don't, and virtually, what do they do first? Sell first, ask questions later.
Right. So
imagine for a minute, in the throes of it all, last week you sold your equities, reduced your holdings, or whatever you did, and now what the end result is that you basically, it's now Tuesday morning, the pre-market, the indexes are up slightly again today. Home Depot had exceptional earnings. The retailers come this week, and and that's something we'll get into. The bricks and mortar and retail is dead. I think that's certainly more hysteria than anything else. But
Chuck, who would actually ever believe that when you think about the fact that we have more DIYers than ever before? For those who don't know, do it yourself. You need your big box store. You need to be able to get all your various supplies. Honestly, and as you know, and they're in most markets, we have two competing big box stores in that market space. I never believed that company line or whoever was trying to spew it that somehow they were not going to continue to do well. In fact, I would submit, Chuck, that they're almost recession proof, because when there's going to be a terrible storm, they get a run on everything from lumber to plywood to everything else. Snow blowers, generators, all these different things. Then, when the market's improved, people are spending because they're fixing what they've got. So I never believed that, Chuck.
Well, Harry, great segue into one of the topics we wanted to talk about, and that's that, there's always this discussion about consumers and how the consumer is doing and how consumers are related to retail. And I think if you really take a look at it, if you spent your time reading the business pages or watching business news, there's always going to be a story. And you see it, Harry, I think more times than not about what is described as the death of the consumer. The business press is obsessed by the relative weakness, and we've talked about this in the brick and mortar stores. So I think, Harry, we're not saying anything that your listeners don't know, but there's no denying the fact that the business model for delivering goods and services to consumers is changing at a lightning pace. You think about where we were like 3 to just 5 years ago. But that doesn't mean that the consumer or retail in particular is dead. And I think, Harry, it's really far from it. So let's take a look at some of the stats for a second. So June, retail sales were up 2.8% from a year ago. And when you knock out autos, it's actually 2.4%. But the view that we see in July is really not much better, up 0.4%. So in retail sales, both including and excluding autos, we are up still 3.5% year over year. But the media wants us to believe otherwise. And think about it. I mean, you and Kirk talked about, the likelihood of, do we get to 3%? How do we get to 3%? When do we get to 3%? And how long can we stay at 3%? I think it's probably the best way to put it. But, if you look at the economic growth in the overall consumer price index, it's up about 1.7% in the last year. Prices in the stores and online have been increasing slowly. More for services for the past several years, and retail is now focusing on selling goods. And so think about it. The non-store retailers, which include internet sales, that annual rate of return has been growing at about 10%. Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
And that's the real reason that brick and mortars have been taking it on the chin here. It's not weak sales overall. It's the actual shifting.
So why doesn't that take into full account, and they shouldn't get hammered, because if you look at the whole business, they're doing just fine. See, I've never thought that that's fair, that if your business shifts in terms of your e-commerce versus bricks and sticks, or what you call bricks and mortars, I don't know why it should be viewed as the whole.
Yeah, so I mean, think about it. If there's something that you want to purchase, it's something that, and I'm trying to remember, you always like to try on your shoes, I think.
Well, except I now, you do want to try on your clothing, but I have now found certain things that are consistently correct that I can now just order through Amazon Prime.
So I mean, if there's something that you want to, if something that you want to buy, maybe you need to replace that old pair of underwear that you have. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
So with a couple clicks, and 2 or 3 days later, that item is delivered to your doorstep.
Yeah. When you know your size and you know exactly the item, and many times you're just reordering, what do you want to do? Do you want to go drive somewhere, use gas, use the wear and tear of your vehicle, take time, or do you want to take 30 seconds, point and click, free shipping, away you go, and it just shows up 2 days later? That's pretty hard to compete with.
I think with one of the underlying factors we all kind of lose sight of when we talk about reporting retail is the fact that, think about if there's something that you own. Maybe it's you bought toys for your children or your grandchildren, and they now have outgrown them. Mm-hmm. You have a readily available marketplace where you can take that item and potentially sell it.
Correct.
And so what is happening is that all of us, I think, are getting better usage out of what we're buying.
In the old days, Chuck, you might have like what they call a yard sale or something, and maybe you put an ad in your local daily or your local weekly, but you were at the mercy of who saw that small little agate size type tiny print, as opposed to now you can target your item to people that are actually looking for it.
So let's think about this for a second. As we mentioned a few minutes ago, the media has done a pretty good job saying the consumer's dead. And retail in bricks and mortar, as we know it, is dead.
While Kirk Conover's on his way driving to Home Depot right now. It's a true story.
I was thinking about helping him this afternoon, but
he could use.
We'd probably have to go to Home Depot multiple times.
Yeah, he's doing ceilings. He's doing some hard work today.
But if you look at the second quarter of this year, carving out let's motorcycles. Harley Davidson. Now I know I'm not allowed to talk about individual companies. They've been taking it on the chin somewhat of late. But motorcycles sales were up over 9% from a year ago. Boats used for personal, pleasure up 22%.
All a byproduct of a better economy.
Yeah. Pleasure aircraft,
right, right?
pleasure aircraft, which a lot of us don't have the ability to buy, up 16%. So think about this, that, ownership of aircraft is obviously not widespread, but and it's very, very tough for all of us to get in there. But if you look at amusement parks and campgrounds, up 13% compared to a year ago. So Americans spent 11% more for vet services a year ago. Now, can you imagine allowing, the pet that you has become your best friend for life, to suffer? So
you don't, but you do what you have to do. And if you could say something is not life-threatening and maybe skip that well visit or whatever, people do what they have to do, Chuck. We've got to get our first break in. We're late. It's 20 minutes past the hour. Chuck Malamut is here, the official financial advisor, exclusive financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program. For all of your financial planning needs, turn to Chuck. And the Malamut Group, 609-383-2010. I want to congratulate the Atlantic Shore 13-year-old Babe Ruth team. It's a team that we have financially sponsored here at the Hurley in the Morning charity, and to all those, Chuck and Kirk and Nancy and everyone that's contributed all through the years, you make it possible for us to write these grants. It was really a real joy to write a $500 grant on the day before they were leaving for the World Series, and now a week later, they're 4-0. They're the champions of their pool. They get a bye into the semifinals. They defeated the hometown team last night in an incredible game that I think lasted 3 hours and 4 minutes, 24 walks, 3 hit batters, a 16-10 win that actually the New Jersey Atlantic Shore team had a commanding 11-4 lead after the 6th inning, or going into the bottom of the 6th inning, when the home team put up a 5 spot and then made it 11-10. And then the Atlantic Shore team put it away, scoring 5 more runs in the top of the 7th, and they didn't give up any runs in the bottom of the 7th and win the game 16-10. They now find themselves in the semifinals, and we'll be keeping you posted. But congratulations, head coach Mike Gill and the Atlantic Shore 13-year-old Babe Ruth team, again having tremendous success. When we reported this at 6:05 this morning, the same story I'm sharing with you now, only I had more time to share some of the details about how some of the players did. I don't have that time now. But there had been no reports, no published reports, no reports at all about if they won last night. It was a very crucial game, and they actually sent the home team packing because that was their second loss. They're out of the tournament. So congratulations, Atlantic Shore Babe Ruth. This portion of our program also brought to us by Dr. Alan Chenman. I will be seeing him tomorrow and giving your best regards. Cosmetic and restorative dentist Dr. Alan Chenman, who practices the full scope of general, cosmetic, and implant dentistry. His expertise ranges from porcelain veneers to crowns to bridges, along with inlays, onlays. Simply put, Dr. Chenman can correct the wide variety of the permanent cosmetic dental problems. He can literally redesign your smile. Dr. Chenman has a photo gallery on his website of before and after cases, unretouched. Check them out, smilecenternj.com. Dr. Chenman is conveniently located at 1999 New Road, Suite D in Linwood. The first step towards a beautiful, healthy smile is to make your appointment. Call Shannon, Dr. Chenman's appointment coordinator, at 609-601-2199. That's 609-601-2199. And please tell Dr. Chenman, if you're having your teeth cleaned, Lisa, Shannon, Brittany, the entire team, that Hurley in the Morning sent you. To Dr. Alan Chenman.
Not available in all states.
Hey, Carl, how is it you're always golfing? I thought you owned a business.
I own a Reese and Irvy's robot franchise, Bob.
Robots? What do they do?
They serve 7 flavors of delicious frozen yogurt in just 60 seconds with a choice of 6 tasty toppings. I've got robots in malls, movie theaters, and hospitals, and the franchisor secured these locations for me.
Sounds so easy.
Yep, managing my robots is simple. Each takes about 2 hours of maintenance a week, leaving me plenty of time to practice my short game.
Oh, nice shot. Looks like I need to get some Reese and Irvy's robots.
Easiest employees you'll ever have. Just go to FroyoFranchising.com. Reese and Irvy's will supply everything you need. They even secure you high-traffic locations. Hey, where are you going?
To learn more about a Reese and Irvy's franchise opportunity.
To learn more about your Reese and Irvy's Froyo robot franchise opportunity, go now to FroyoFranchising.com and use promo code 8484. FroyoFranchising.com, promo code 8484. That's FroyoFranchising.com, promo code 8484.
Hi, this is Assemblyman Chris Brown. Join me on WPG each month to talk about the issues important to you and our hard-working families in Atlantic County. This is Assemblyman Chris Brown, and now back to my friend Harry Hurley.
Thank you, sir. We're back with Chuck Malamut, the exclusive financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program. Equities, Chuck, give us the latest.
So Harry, as we got through the summer, what we have seen is some consolidation within equities. We just kind of chatted about what happened over the last week or so, but the geopolitical tensions, can be conceived as the recent weaknesses we've seen within the equity markets. But equities have been losing some momentum over the summer, consistent with somewhat of a consolidation phase. So what we're seeing here, Harry, is that pullbacks and trends often become viable in a long-standing bull market that we have had since 2008. If a larger issue is developing that we're not aware of, the character of the next rally will probably be more revealing than anything else. So you're seeing, again, this shift from growth to value, and then oftentimes you go back from value to growth. So don't be at all surprised, if the market is, sort of retrenching, because we're still pretty much of the belief that we're still going to make some positive movements in equities as we get into the fourth quarter and towards the end of the year.
Chuck, let me give you a wild card question that's not on our agenda, but I think it's an important one. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, today will sign an executive order on infrastructure projects. So he felt that Congress wasn't moving quickly enough to do certain things. He's taken it upon his own executive authority to propose leveraging $200 billion in government spending into $1 trillion of projects. This will involve a lot of things that we don't have to get into, such as air traffic control system, rural infrastructure, repairing bridges, roads. We're all talking about the crumbling roads and bridges and all of this. Does this kind of infrastructure return dollar for multiple dollars into the community? How do you feel typically infrastructure spending?
Well, Harry, I mean, it's very, very obvious to all of us that travel, whether it's on a super highway or locally or air traffic. I mean, it's just you can't get out of the way. I remember one day coming here not too long ago. I had 3 detours.
Yeah.
and that's necessary work that has been long overdue, and it's just prevalent throughout the country. And I think to answer your question, a dollar earned, multiply that times 3 or 4 times, ultimately into the economy. And the fact of the matter is that our infrastructure is crumbling, and I think what will happen is there'll be all kinds of arguments or pushbacks. I think you and Kirk kind of talked about this over the last hour. Chuck Schumer is going to potentially say, and I think this is you making this statement, that you should have given us an opportunity to really rethink this, and we could have done a better job, and et cetera, et cetera. But the fact of the matter is that we've had this this gridlock for so long. We have to get moving forward.
I remember, for example, after 9/11, 2001, the president, everybody was very concerned, would Americans spend again? It was important to get the economy going. So they did a stimulus. I don't believe there was any means testing to speak of. So most Americans qualified for it, if not all. And you wound up probably getting enough to buy a new large appliance or to spend in some way. I always wonder about government spending, and what Kirk and I and what you and I talk about over more than a quarter of a century together, the velocity of money. There, as you know, Chuck, there are many examples where if you properly invest $1, you can create $5 worth of spending in the economy. Then there's the worst way that you can spend money when there's no return at all. Does infrastructure return in terms of the velocity of money?
Absolutely, because Harry, you think about it, if you're able to travel first of all, for those that are working in that particular industry, it's wages that are being created for the local economy. Then as you travel from point A to point B, if you can be more efficient in your travels, and ultimately that creates more spendable dollars for you as well, rather than wasting those dollars. So I think that everybody wins by it, and just traveling today, and I'm not saying anything your listeners are not aware of. You used to enjoy traveling by air, and now it's more of a chore than anything else. And it's, somebody says, okay, hey, you have to go from Philadelphia to Detroit. You oftentimes think, geez, wouldn't it be a better way to get there other than air travel? Because it's just, as efficient as it is, it's rather very, very painful at times. It's kind of a good segue, into one of the next topics we're going to talk about, Harry, which is wage growth.
Which we're going to do right after the break. We're going to be right back 31 minutes past the hour with Chuck Malamut, the official financial advisor, the exclusive financial advisor for the Early in the Morning program. Chuck is the managing director of his team, the Malamut Group at Morgan Stanley's Northfield, New Jersey office, 609-383-2010, 609-383-2010 for all of your financial planning needs. And think about this. You think about all the other things you do that you have an expert tend to. You want to do the same thing in terms of who manages your money, and it's my strong, unconditional recommendation that you select Chuck. Tell him that I sent you, 609-383-2010, and he can help set you on the course for retirement, for a college building, vacation planning, or any financial type of milestone in your planning. We'll be back in a few minutes. Ask the Mayor is coming up this Thursday. We'll talk a little bit more about that during this break, and we'll be right back. Much more with Chuck Malamut. U.S. wage growth is next.
WPG Talk Radio 104.1 presents Ask the Mayor with Atlantic City Mayor Don Guardian. Join us Thursday evening at 6 to talk directly to Mayor Don Guardian. Brought to you by Lexus of Atlantic City. Luxury vehicles at the right price. Come see how easy, affordable, and satisfying the luxury car buying and service experience can be at Lexus of Atlantic City on Fire Road in EHT. Ask the Mayor, Thursday evening at 6 on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
We treat people well. Shore Physicians Group.
Shore Physicians Group is proud to include rheumatology among its medical specialties, allowing you to seek diagnosis and treatment for arthritis and other disease that can affect your joints, muscles, and bones. Shore Physicians Group rheumatologists Dr. Linda Brecker and Anna Serlusu are board certified in internal medicine and rheumatology. Together, these expert practitioners bring fellowship training and a highly personalized approach to the people they care for. Shore Physicians Group is accepting new patients at its Summers Point and Marmore offices. Most insurance plans are accepted. For a rheumatology appointment, call 609-365-6200 or visit shorephysiciansgroup.com. That's 609-365-6200 or shorephysiciansgroup.com.
Shore Physicians Group, treating people well.
Here at Town Square Media, we're not your average radio group. From web design to e-commerce to social media and the latest in mobile technology, we employ an arsenal of services to help our clients build their businesses. But we can't do it without a dedicated sales staff. We're experiencing record growth, and we're looking for seasoned sales professionals with drive and determination to help us grow even more. We offer an excellent base salary with high commission rates, an unlimited earning potential, and full benefits. Plus, we offer major market experience without the major market commute. At Town Square Media, you'll get the opportunity to make a real difference to thousands of local businesses, and you'll have a lot of fun along the way. If you're an experienced salesperson with a proven track record of success, then Town Square Media might have an opportunity for you. To learn more about outside sales opportunities, contact Mike Rubel, Market Manager, at 609-645-9797. That's 609-645-9797. Town Square Media is an equal opportunity employer. 609-645-9797.
This is Harry Hurley asking you to join us for our exclusive live coverage of the 15th Annual Atlantic City Air Show, Thunder Over the Boardwalk, beginning at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, August 23rd on WPG 104.1 FM, 1450 AM, and WPGTalkRadio.com. Our coverage is brought to you by co-presenting banner sponsors, Senator Jeff Andrew, Dr. Harvey Kesselman in Stockton University, along with Jim Wood in Meade AC, Ron Johnson in Shore Medical Center, Morgan Stanley's Chuck Malamut, Atlantic City Electric, Mark Giantonio and Resorts Casino Hotel Atlantic City, Vince Palestina and Associates, Assemblyman Chris Brown, the D'Amato Law Firm, Charles and Anne-Marie Kane, the Auto Plaza at English Creek, Green Tree Mortgage, Jim Malamut, and All Season Solar. We look forward to being with you on Wednesday, August 23rd for the 15th Annual Atlantic City Air Show right here on WPG Talk Radio 104.1.
Hi, it's Brian Kilmeade. Join me next at 10, then Sean Hannity at 3. Now back to Harry Hurley on WPG Talk Radio 104.1, South Jersey's talk station.
35 minutes past the hour. Chuck Malamut is here, the official financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program, the Hurley family, the Hurley charity. 609-383-2010. That's your phone number for Chuck and his team. They have a really, really good team at Chuck's office, the Malamut Group. You'll enjoy working with everyone, Nancy and Kristen and the Torpedo, and of course Chuck Malamut. Chuck, I know we're going to talk about U.S. wage growth now. Time is yours.
So, Harry, I tried what you oftentimes say, don't try to do this at home.
Exactly.
And I did, and I thought I was going to go right to U.S. wage growth, and you cut me right off at the 8:30 break. So I guess
we kept on time.
I guess I need to.
But now you can develop.
let you need to continue to be the host. How's that sound? So we think that U.S. wage growth over the next few quarters will continue to increase. This will allow the Fed, and I know you don't want to hear it, to go back to that raising of interest rates.
Right, because they can't wait.
A rapid acceleration in wage growth, would cause the Fed to raise rates more aggressively. Seems unlikely over the next 12 months. So the camp that says, okay, they're going to go 25 basis points each meeting, and we're going to move it up, 200 basis points over the next 2 years or a year and a half. We're not so convinced that's going to happen. So, we do think wages are going to increase, but we don't think that you're going to have a rapid acceleration in wage growth. To get the, I want to use the word hyperventilate, get the Fed to kind of hyperventilate.
Will wages stay ahead of inflation?
We think they will, because inflation, for the most part, I know you really can't X out food and energy and everything else, but inflation is pretty tepid at this point in time. We're not, we haven't seen, huge increases, and I think a lot of that is due to the fact you think about, where oil is today versus where it was a year ago. Energy prices are lower, which creates more profitability.
See, here's my layperson take on this, Chuck. I know we can't stay, even I know as a layperson, we can't stay at zero, and we're not at zero anymore because there have been some small, 25 basis point increases, a few of them. But we can't stay at zero or near zero forever, and it's been like a decade. But we're finally to the point where at 2.6% GDP, during the past 8 years, that was unimaginable. We had negative periods. We had fractional, less than 1%. So we're very near. Remember the term, and I wrote a whole column about this, the new normal, where we were being asked to swallow that it's just the new normal. We can't grow at 3% and beyond anymore. Well, Chuck, here's what I think. If you can grow at 2.6%, you can certainly grow at 3%.
Yeah, I think it's time, and we've kind of talked about it, to take the training wheels off.
And that's why I'm saying no rate increases for a little while. Let this wonderful surge have a chance. Don't tamp it down, because Alan Greenspan, my least favorite Fed chair of my lifetime. I would take Volcker. I would take a lot of them before Alan Greenspan. He got so much credit for being great, but he wasn't great. I think there's this desire of the Fed to really squash good times.
What I remember about Alan Greenspan, Harry, many, many years ago, was when they would throw the chart up of Fed fund rates. And it looked like a staircase.
Yeah.
A straight line across, and then a line up and down. Straight line across, line up. And you look at this over the course of 18 to 24 months, it looks like you were building a staircase.
Yeah.
And obviously
that's what gave him his reputation. That he was a genius.
The
but
theme of irrational exuberance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to be critical of a former Fed chair, but I think it's like in anything, Harry. You got to realize what you're listening to and why you're listening to it. The fact of the matter is that we think that. We've seen some really, really good times over the last 2 quarters in particular with respect to corporate earnings. So the earnings recession that started in 2015 and ended around the time of the presidential election in this past year. We've had 2 consecutive quarters now of double-digit earnings growth in 2017, and it's going to probably be the first year in the last 4 years with earnings growth year over year. So I know you often talk about the president and what has happened since November, the number of times the market has hit new highs. I think your quote was every 5 days, I think is what you said. Mm-hmm. So the markets for the most part seem to be rather resilient, but it's like anything else. I think you need to be very, very cautious of what you're doing. And why you're doing it.
Chuck, what I love seeing, I didn't love seeing the downturn, and it was really not that sharp, but you had what you talk about for 26 years, a major geopolitical event. And although a lot of the geopolitical events of today, the markets just like a flea, just flick them away. When you're talking about the potential for like a global thermonuclear war, that's a little hard to ignore, and the markets got spooked by it. But look how quick Dow 22,000 happened again, and we're closing yesterday, just barely under. And for much of the day, the Dow was over 22,000 again. I thought this was a really good sign at how quick it rebound.
So Harry, I think if you take a look at sort of the positives and the negatives, what can help the market and what can derail the market. So let's talk about for a second about areas of concern for a minute. Now, you mentioned before, we talked about inflation. Inflation could possibly increase, which could cause the dollar to surge. You think about, King dollar and the fact that the dollar's off 7 and 9% year to date has been very, very favorable for your multinationals in particular. Unfortunately, the president's popularity is somewhat fading. And as a result of that, the pro-growth agenda that he wanted to set forth might be a little more challenging to get accomplished. Tensions between U.S. and foreign countries with respect to trade, they're starting to tighten up a little bit, so that could hamper growth. As you just mentioned a few minutes ago, the geopolitical risks remain somewhat elevated. And the last item that could derail the market here is that bond yields, could end up falling further, causing problems for equities. Now, on the flip side, the positive factors with the market, and you kind of also talked about this a few minutes ago, economic growth, should be around 2.5%, hopefully pushing to 3%. The odds of passing some sort of a tax cut, I think appears pretty good still to this date.
I think it does too, Chuck, and I think they sense an imperative to pass something.
Yeah, we talked about the debt ceiling. There's a lot of political noise out there.
I think that's going to get noisy right to the end.
But we think that that noise might be a little bit overstated, and you're right. It's going to pass.
Right?
The White House, should hopefully be a little more disciplined now with John Kelly.
Well, what they have to guard against, Chuck, they were not able to pass repeal and replace regarding the Affordable Care Act. If they're not making progress on taxes, and if we were to have a government shutdown, I just don't think I don't think they can actually survive that. So sometimes when something is completely unacceptable, you find a way to make sure it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and then ultimately, Harry, we talk about the average investor sentiment. It's been very, very cautious. And when that happens, it sort of suggests that there's still a fair amount of upside potential within the equity market. So, we are cautiously optimistic. I think a lot of the gains have been put in, to date so far for the year. We still think there's a ways to go. And, if think about if we were able to, in fact, get these tax cuts.
Oh, I would have to think markets would just be overjoyed at that, wouldn't they, Chuck?
And Harry, think about this for a second. So the market, from the time of the election, stages a major rally. We've had some minor setbacks, but nothing of any magnitude. And the fact of the matter is that virtually nothing has gotten accomplished in Washington.
What about, did you get in everything you wanted to share about corporate earnings?
We talked about corporate earnings. Yes, we did that.
I knew you brought it up. I wasn't sure if everything was addressed there. And we did cover the market update, North Korea equities, U.S. wage growth, corporate earnings, state of the consumer. I heard something, Chuck, that seemed counter to what we believe to be true, and that the consumers are not spending to the tune that would be expected based on the growth that we're experiencing. Is there any truth to that?
No, I think, Harry, we kind of covered it earlier in our segment today.
I saw a report that made it seem different than that, and I was thinking, where do they get that from? Because the numbers are good.
And you know what's interesting, which I had a meeting yesterday with one of the execs works in one of the casinos, Atlantic City, VP, and I looked at it because it was a day off. And I said, how was the weekend? He goes, the weekend was absolutely fabulous.
Chuck, I've been in the city quite a bit. The city is busy. And the city is busy midweek.
Yeah, so that's all good signs. So hopefully Atlantic City has right-sized itself, and now we're on the path of more prosperity.
Not only right-sized, but right-sized, and they can accommodate the additional casino. I really believe that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, Harry, with that. Obviously, Stockton and hopefully our local real estate values will then move in the right direction.
Let me give you a Wharton School graduate comment from Kirk Conover.
I hope he's not texting while he's driving.
No, he's live from Home Depot.
Okay.
The velocity of money in the second quarter was 5.5, which indicates no inflation, which we agreed with, and the you said to be mindful and watch that there could be, but there's not at this time. So you were accurate, in what you said, and Kirk is accurate with what he's saying. He said that this also shows the desperate need for tax cuts.
I agree. And
that's the next big thing.
The other thing that happened during the show today, we kind of chatted about, we started the conversation about retail sales, and retail sales for July actually came in at 0.6 versus the forecast of 0.4. So I think we are headed in the right direction here, Harry.
Is that a big deal, 0.2%?
Yeah, it is. When you think about it, it's a big deal. I mean, if the consumer is not dead, the consumer is spending. I mean, I know it's sometimes a little difficult to understand that because of where we are physically located, but you go outside of the area and there are some places that are absolutely on fire.
Do you think that the true result of internet sales gets accurately reported? I don't think so.
It's hard. I mean,
because there's so much commerce out there that is just below the radar.
It is, Harry. So we reported 10%.
So I think it's even. What I'm saying, I think it's even better.
I think it is better, and it's certainly great for for the U.S. Postal Service. Certainly great for FedEx, UPS, and all the other carriers that deliver all those boxes to our homes every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege each week in this hour to present Chuck Malamut, the exclusive financial advisor for the Hurley in the Morning program, managing director of his group, the Malamut Group, at Morgan Stanley's Northfield, New Jersey office, and they are standing by to meet with you. Really, they're very flexible to meet with you. Chuck meets with people during the evening at times. I mean, whatever he needs to do, and his team, they'll be there for you. 609-383-2010, 609-383-2010, 609-383-2010. Chuck, until next week.
Harry, thanks for having me. Have a good week.
I've enjoyed it. Very, very well done.
You take care.
You got it. We'll be back. Coming up, a mini open forum segment. So if you want to jump in, I know we've dropped phone calls today because it has been nonstop, and I thank you for that. You can jump in right now. We're going to go away for 3 minutes, but we're going to still have a good 7-8 minutes uninterrupted so we can get some more calls on. 609-4 407-1450 if you want to jump in. First one right now will be first one on. Then at 5 minutes past the top of the hour, we will visit with a former candidate for Atlanta County Executive, a former candidate for council in Chuck's beloved Galloway Township, 25-year distinguished law enforcement career within the Atlanta County Sheriff's Department. He held the rank under immediate past Sheriff Frank Ballas of the Chief Sheriff's Officer, very, very high-ranking position within the department. It's the top uniform position within the Atlanta County Sheriff's Department. And he is coming this morning not only to endorse, but also to share his perspective of not only who should be the next Atlanta County Sheriff, but the qualities, the leadership skills, the background that he thinks would make for the best candidate out of the two major party candidates. This is a lifelong Democrat who will be making an endorsement coming up in just a few minutes. Don't miss it. I'm Hurley in the Morning on WPG.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, brought to you by Deborah Heart and Lung Center. For compassionate care, demand Deborah.
Change up your workout this summer and take a trip to the beach for new challenges you wouldn't find at the gym. There are the obvious water activities such as swimming, boogie boarding, paddle boarding, or kayaking. Or if you prefer, just walking in water up to your shins or knees is a great way to add an extra challenge. And walking or jogging in the sand requires almost double the energy and burns more calories than walking or jogging on a hard surface. And don't forget active games on the beach such as paddleboard or volleyball. Great way to have fun with family or friends and still stay active on the beach. Finally, yoga or stretching on the beach, especially in the quiet early morning, is a wonderful way to connect to nature. So before we say goodbye to summer, pack your sunblock and your favorite workout mat and try a beach workout. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, brought to you by Deborah Heart and Lung Center. For compassionate care, demand Deborah.
Paul D'Amato.
Harry Hurley.
Paul, I know our listeners want to know what's new with the D'Amato Law Firm.
Things are great, Harry. We are so privileged to represent our clients whose lives have been turned upside down because they were involved in a serious accident. We meet on a regular basis. We copy our clients on all our correspondence so they always know what's going on with their case. We try to treat them like family. We have Alexa here, my daughter. I'm so happy that she's here. We have Steve Van Natten and Casey Gifford. We're a great legal team.
They're the D'Amato Law Firm for all of your personal injury legal needs. Turn to the official lead counsel to the Hurley in the Morning program for more than a quarter of a century. The D'Amato Law Firm in Egg Harbor Township, 609-926-3300. That's 609-926-3300. Tell Paul, Alexa, Sandy, the entire team that Hurley in the Morning sent you. This is Harry Hurley for All Season Solar, our official and exclusive solar energy provider to the Hurley in the Morning program. They design and they install the most attractive, efficient, state-of-the-art solar photovoltaic systems from the world's leading manufacturers. What I love about dealing with All Season Solar, they're your single point of contact. They do the system design, engineering, your building permits, installation, and the ultimate glorious utility connection day. They take care of everything under the sun so that you can sit back and reap the savings. Call Frank Neal today, 609-317-5491. That's Frank Neal, All Season Solar, 609-317-5491. There's never been a better time to go solar. The benefits are there. New Jersey leads the East Coast and second largest in the entire United States in terms of solar energy panel installation. No deposits, no hidden fees, no out-of-pocket costs. All Season Solar. Tell them Hurley in the Morning sent you.
Hi, it's Mark Levin. Join me at 6 this evening. Now back to the Mayor of the Morning, Harry Hurley, on WPG Talk Radio 104.1, South Jersey's talk station.
We're back 53 minutes past the hour, 609-407-1450, an open phone line. Welcome to Hurley in the Morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Harry. I'm calling in listening about this sheriff's race and a little bit of fire that seems to be starting the last couple of days. The one thing I question is that the initial endorsement from the PBA. Why did they write a letter and CC management? Are they in bed with management, or or what's the deal? Every other union that makes an announcement loud and proud, standing on their own. These guys make an announcement and seem like they're laying in bed with Denny Levinson and management.
No, I appreciate the comment. I disagree completely. I think it was just esprit de corps. It's a paramilitary organization. And if you think about it, this is a little bit different than other unions that just have a collective bargaining unit within, say, a city function. You're talking paramilitary. There's a big difference between people that are order takers, giving orders, follow orders, whether you were in the military or what we call paramilitary in terms of public safety. I disagree with you. They didn't make the decision in concert with management. They made the decision on their own. And by the way, you could also be critical. I got copied on the letter, which I appreciate. I'm the only person in the media that was copied. I want to say that's because I have a 26-year track record of really supporting the PBA Local 243. And in fact, they had nominated me for a lifetime, it's an honor really on that side of the ledger of my career, because it's very rare, for a civilian to get a lifetime membership, the block of silver, the whole deal. And I had it, and some unscrupulous person stole it from me at the New Jersey state PBA level. And it wasn't the state. It was a local bad actor. But everything was righted, and we ultimately got it, and so honored to get it through the distinguished Atlantic City PBA. But it's not about being in the tank. I'm glad you raised that question. And let me see if I have it right here in my phone, because I did save a picture of their initial letter. Now, keep in mind, their initial letter was that they had chosen at one point in time not to endorse. And at that point in time, the people that were copied, Keith Davis, Dennis Levinson, Frank Formica, and yours truly, that was February 27th. Incidentally, no one from management was copied in that letter. Let's make that clear. You had the president. And, well, now here's something that's very important. This first letter, when they were planning at that point, this was never a letter that said they might not endorse later. It was a letter where they made it clear that they actually would not endorse Chief Stephen Caldwell under any circumstances. But in fairness, this was done jointly by the PBA Local 243 and by the PBA Supervisors Association. So you had not only President Andrew Frito of PBA Local 243, the rank and file, but you had Bill Oddie, the president of the Supervisors Association. So on that letter, your comment is completely specious, because that was esprit de corps. There was unanimity between both the rank and file and the supervisors that Steve Caldwell was unacceptable to them under any circumstances. Now, I was answering it, I think, to the best of my ability without looking at the letter, and maybe some PBA 243 members were going, "Oh, come on, Harry, get it right here. You're better than this. Get it right. Don't let this stand that this is the answer." Because guess what? August 10th, in a letter that I was also copied, no supervisor within the department was copied. And this one was only the membership of the rank and file, not the supervisors at all. So, sir, I respect you. I appreciate your listenership. I don't think you were intentionally trying to be deceptive, because there's been a lot of that as well, where the people tried to diminish Mayor Glasser's endorsement from the PBA, saying it was like 11-9 and, so close, and 40 people support Eric Scheffler, that just for some reason all of them couldn't come to the meeting. I mean, a lot of cock and bull going on out there. It was a distinguished, unanimous endorsement. There were some people that abstained, but it was a unanimous endorsement of Glasser. Let's make that clear, because that whole storyline of a few days ago was complete, utter untruth. But to answer your question, It's easier just to read the letter. This statement is being issued by the members of the Atlantic County Sheriff's rank and file officers of PBA Local 243. PBA Local 243 rank and file officers have chosen to endorse and support Jack Glasser as the candidate for Atlantic County Sheriff in November 2017 election. And respectfully, it's signed Andrew Frito, the president, and Tim Murphy, the state delegate. So your question was completely, utterly false. This is not copied to any management within the Sheriff's Department. Now, they released it. I have a copy of it. Other people have a copy of it. But they did it through their own rank and file, released it through the leadership of their own rank and file, and you, sir, were wrong. Breaking news next.
104.1 WPGG Atlantic City, WSJO 104.9 HD2 Egg Harbor City. Everything you need to know in 6 minutes starts now.
How much pull does President Trump have in Alabama? I'm Dave Anthony. Fox News. He's telling Republicans there to vote for Luther Strange.
If people want to get the Trump agenda implemented in Washington, I think there's one choice.
He cast his ballot a short time ago, but the senator's facing a tough primary challenge today.
Luther Strange was appointed to succeed Jeff Sessions by Governor Bentley, and Governor Bentley didn't support Trump during the election.
So that voter backs Congressman Mo Brooks. This woman wants former Judge Roy Moore